Start laying down, so finding your way to a comfortable spot, maybe in something like Shavasana, corpse pose, with your arms and legs outstretched. Adding any extra cushioning that you want under your knees or your head, or a blanket up over top of you. Bend your knees and just customize this starting pose to suit you and your ultimate comfort here. And once you find somewhat of a comfortable position, see if you can really give way to the floor or the mat beneath you. Just let yourself be supported. Soften any activation of your muscles and just know that you don't have to hold yourself up in any way right now. You could close your eyes or maybe half close your eyes or just kind of soften your gaze. Tapping into a few moments of stillness to see what's there. How is your energy today? How are you feeling in this moment? Briefly scanning back through your day. How have you been feeling throughout the day? How's your energy been through the day? Are there any emotions that are present for you right now that you can name or notice? Are there any physical sensations through your body that are catching your attention? If it's available and welcome to you to breathe through your nose today, let's find our proper oral posture, sealing the lips, relaxing your jaw so there's just a very slight bit of space in between the biting surfaces of your teeth. And gently rest or press your tongue up onto the roof of your mouth with as much of the surface area of your tongue touching the roof of your mouth as possible. Opening up awareness through the nasal passageways, maybe even slightly flaring your nostrils, just letting there be less friction with each breath in and out. Drawing air down to the very lowest parts of your lungs, diaphragmatic belly breathing here, letting your belly expand with each inhale, inflating like a balloon, and releasing with each exhale. Try to keep the rest of your body as peaceful, as soft as you can, optimizing your awareness and your energy just for this movement and act of breathing. And without trying too hard, see if an intention or a dedication, a word or a phrase, see if something arises for you to set as a focal point for your practice today. Taking your sweet time, starting to consider a little bit of movement here, but first let's take 3 clearing breaths in through the nose and a big sigh through the mouth. 2 or more like that, maybe inviting in some wiggles of fingers and toes. Maybe some circling of ankles or wrists. Heading into a long body stretch, perhaps, fingers and toes stretching and reaching in opposite directions. And then bending your knees, bringing your arms out wide. Let's take a little twist toward the right. So scooting the pelvis over toward the left edge of your mat. And allowing your knees to start twisting and turning down toward the right. You could keep your gaze straight up or slowly let your head rock from one side to the other. Flipping your palms toward the ceiling. We're keeping the arms out to a T here. We're going to bend the left elbow, touch your left shoulder with your left fingers, and then slide your hand across your collarbones, down your right arm, and then stack your hands on the right side. So we're kind of in the fetal position here. Reach your left hand farther away than your right hand. So you're really stretching between the shoulder blades here, reaching. You can pause here and then eventually we'll open it back up, pulling the left hand across the right arm, across the collarbones, and whatever feels like all the way open to you. Go ahead and follow this path a couple times if you'd like, bending the left elbow, left fingers to the left shoulder, sliding across the collarbones and all the way down till the hands slide past each other again. Feldenkrais method twists here, meant to help pattern more functional movement through the shoulder blades here, specifically good old protraction and retraction, which is something that is said to kind of go away with age and with not using the opening and closing muscles as much. So eventually let's end up with the arms back open, bringing your knees up to the center. This time we'll scoot the pelvis over toward the right edge of the mat, and then allow your knees to start twisting and lowering to the left. Take a couple extra moments to come into this side as it's a counter pose. Sometimes it feels like a little harder or a little more stretched in the opposite direction. So we'll just pause here before we do much movement. Maybe slightly turning your head from side to side if that feels interesting. Eventually bending the right elbow, bringing the right fingertips to the right shoulder, and then gliding across the collarbones and down the left arm, stacking your hands. Reach your right fingertips, your right hand beyond your left, stretching between the shoulder blades. And then we'll retract, pulling the right hand across your left arm, across your collarbones, and all the way open. Take your time exploring this movement or anywhere along the way. Noticing how the shoulder blades come close together as your arms are wide apart. There at the center of your back, your shoulder blades are pulling together. And when your hands are stacked, the shoulder blades end up really widening away from the center of the spine. Eventually, roll back to your back, bringing your knees up to the center, scoot the pelvis to the center of your mat. Let's hug the knees in toward the chest, bringing your forehead up toward your knees. And then long body stretch. Choose how fast or slow you go here, letting your arms and legs go long in opposite directions. Rest them on the floor. Then we'll do that maybe 2 more times in some way, making yourself back into a little ball, hugging your forehead toward your knees. And then long body stretch, opening back up. Going more for like a star pose here, like an X shape with my arms and legs, but you can do whatever you'd like with that. Maybe one more, so maybe 3 of these. And then we'll end up here, turning on to either side. Press your way up to a comfortable seat. You can sit up on a block or something if you'd like. We won't be here for too long, so we'll just sit up as tall as we can, tenting the fingertips off to either side. You could rock your shoulders out a little bit here and see if you can create a little more space, upward length and space through the spine and the crown of the head. You could close your eyes here and just feel kind of this diamond shape from, or this triangle shape rather, from the inside. The fingertips on either hand and the crown of the head, creating this triangle. Inhale, sweeping the arms around and then up overhead, looking up as your hands join, and exhale, lower your hands down to heart center, tucking your chin at the bottom. Inhale, hands reach high, and exhale, bringing the fingertips back down to the floor. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, hands to heart, tucking your chin. Inhale, reach high. And exhale, lower the hands. 1 more time. Go ahead. All right, we'll go to hands and knees next for cat and cow. Sweeping the legs around and back. Pressing the palms of your hands into the floor. Before we get into it, just take a moment to focus on your hand. Maybe even kind of pressing one of your hands down into the mat. And then the other hand, just kind of flattening things out. Or if you're making an impression in some clay, just giving the hands a little bit of love here. And then settling in to nice foundation. With your inhale, cow pose, lowering your belly, lifting your gaze and your tailbone. Exhale, cat pose, rounding up through the spine, tucking your chin and your tailbone. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Keep going a few more times, adding on any other little movements that feel interesting as you go. Maybe a little twist through the shoulders or a bend of your elbows. Let's thread the needle. Next, we'll bring the left hand a little closer to center. Let's reach upward with the right arm. Upward twist here first, circling out your right wrist. Bending and straightening your right elbow. Maybe taking some shoulder circles with the right arm in any order. Okay, let's prepare. Inhale, opening high, and exhale. Thread the needle, twisting, dipping the right arm down and through, setting the right shoulder and side of the head on props or the floor. We're reaching with that right arm. The left hand, just finding a place to support you, maybe up near the top of your mat or off to the side where it naturally goes. Try to control your breath. And if it feels nice, maybe kind of leaning into your right shoulder for a little more stretch. Plant that left hand by your face. Start to press your way on up. Reach your right hand high. And then we'll reset, going to the second side. So your right hand ending up kind of closer to the middle of your mat. Inhale, upward twist toward the left, lifting your left arm. Let's get some movement through all the joints of the left arm, the fingers, the wrist, that left elbow a little bit, and maybe some shoulder circles. Then let's prepare, inhaling, reaching high. And exhale, thread the needle, left arm dipping down and through, left side of the head and shoulder, finding the mat. Bring your right hand or your right arm to a supportive place for you, maybe up toward the top of your mat or out to that right side. Getting a handle on the flow of your breath. Maybe leaning slightly into that left shoulder if you need more sensation. Planting your right hand back up by your face. Let's press up, reach the left arm high. And then lower it on down. Let's come to the stomach now, lowering yourself. We'll plant the hands on either side of the chest. Let's come up to the fingertips. So maybe you bring your arms a little wider than normal, just for kind of a different way of experiencing baby cobra today. So pressing into the tops of your feet a lot. So your thighs and your glutes start working. Maybe your knees get a little lighter on the floor. Inhale, lifting your head and heart, using the strength of your core. And exhale, lower down. Let's do this a few times. So in your own timing, inhale as you rise up. And exhale as you lower. See if you can make it feel like some kind of flow here. Everything's kind of working together. Your inhales have you lifting, baby cobra. Your exhales have you lowering. You can go ahead and continue this kind of strengthener here, or you can plant your forearms and rest in Sphinx pose. We'll bend the elbows. Your elbows could be more or less under the shoulders, or for less bend through your low back, you can bring your hands and your elbows out in front of you. So taking a moment to find your Sphinx. We're kind of puffing the chest up here. We're very active through the back side of the body here, especially the glutes. We're pressing the feet down into the floor. Steadying your breath. Taking a slight tuck of your chin so you have kind of a neutral neck. lowering down, crocodile pose, stacking your hands or your fists beneath your forehead. Excuse me. And then resting your head on top. Let your heels splay out to the sides. Let everything soften. Maybe rocking your hips a little bit side to side, loosening up the low back. Maybe massaging your forehead into your hand or whatever your forehead's resting on. That could be nice. Let's take 3 diaphragmatic breaths here. So just seeing where the air goes when you're mostly blocked from breathing into the belly like normal. So we're expanding. You might notice more expansion in a 360 view here, maybe through the sides and the back a little more. Sending this last diaphragmatic breath here all the way down to the tailbone. See if that makes sense in your body. Let's do one more like that. And we'll start to rise up, tabletop here, and right on back to child's pose. Let's bring the knees out wide toward the edges of the mat and the big toes touching behind you, sinking your seat toward your heels as you lower your head and heart once again toward the floor. Another great way to experience diaphragmatic breath here. This time the belly has plenty of space to expand. Two more breaths. Rising back up to tabletop, let's grab our blocks if we have them and find a downward dog here. Blocks up at the top of the mat. Let's get a nice good grip. Hand print into those blocks again, curling your toes under, downward dog, reaching your tailbone high. First and foremost, and always most important, the flow of your breath. Finding your pace there, and then maybe bending and straightening your knees. Bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat, and then step or walk your way to the top. Ragdoll, forward fold. Letting your upper body be nice and loose here. You could grab opposite elbows and sway a little bit. You could toe heel your feet out even wider and incorporate your legs a little bit more into the movement. At some point, nodding your head yes, shaking your head no. If you grabbed opposite elbows, let's switch the grip, releasing, and then grabbing hold again with the other forearm on top. Let's slowly start to rise. You could use the help of your hands, walking up your legs if you'd like. And like you're like a flower unfurling in some way, just see what comes out. Maybe the arms want to bloom, blossom in a different way. Maybe you want to get a little shaking going. Maybe just some intuitive stretching or movement. As you get to the top, doesn't have to look any certain way. We're just letting it come out a little bit. Maybe a little hop or two. Okay. Eventually, let's come up to the top of the mat here. Our flow today is going to be starting from tree pose. So if you like to have a wall or a chair close by, make sure it's somewhere near the top of your mat so you can grab hold at any moment. So let's shift to balance on the right foot first. I'm going to hold on to the wall a little bit here. We can kickstand the left heel up on the right calf, or you could slide your foot up a little higher. Again, holding on to something for support is no problem. Your hands could be out to the side, or you might join me in a little movement, inhaling the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands coming down to heart center. Pausing here for a couple of moments. Noticing and appreciating those little muscle twitches and catches. Your body's working together so well to keep you upright. Inhale, reaching your hands high overhead. Exhale, lower your hands down by your sides. All right, this time, inhale, reaching high. Exhale, step your left foot back as if we're going into a forward fold. So the left foot goes back and our hands come down to the blocks. Lower your left knee all the way down to the mat. Inhale, reach your hands up and overhead. Exhale here. Inhale. And exhale, bringing hands to blocks. Let's pick up that left knee and then step your right foot back to meet your left, downward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath in. And out. Inhale, bend both knees, but with your exhale, just step your right foot forward only, just the right foot. Inhale, let's stand on up in our high lunge crescent moon here. And exhale, bending into that right knee a little more. Inhale. And exhale, warrior two. The left heel spins down to the back of the mat. Reach your fingertips in opposite directions. Doing your best to stack your shoulders over your hips so you're not too far back or forward, just right in the middle there. Find your breath. Pick up all of your toes, spread them out, set them back down. One more breath in and out. Pivot on your right heel and spin all of your toes to face the long edge of your mat. And then warrior two to the back. So the left toes now face the back of your mat and we're bending into that knee. Inhale, reverse triangle, straighten both legs, reach the left hand high, let your right hand slide down the back of your leg. Breathing in, exhale, warrior two, bending back into the left knee. Breathe in and out. One last breath in. Exhale, bring your hands to either side of your left foot at the back of your mat and lower your right knee down to the floor. So now we're in our low lunge at the back of the mat. I'm going to grab a block here. Feel free to do the same if you want to. I'm putting a block underneath my right hand. We're gonna lean into that right or the left foot a little bit more here. Place your left hand on your left thigh or knee. Start to twist your upper body toward the left. Lots of options from here. You could stay right here. You could reach your left arm high. You could turn this into a prayer twist by hooking the right elbow on top of the left knee and then bringing palms together. You could also spend a moment turning this into a quad stretch, reaching back for your right foot, bending that knee. But find something that feels kind of fun and enjoyable. And then lowering your left hand down. Let's curl the right toes under, pick up your right knee, and then walk your hands around to the right all the way up to the top of your mat. Step your left foot forward to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a few moments to get back into balance. Practicing coming back into complete control or as close to that as you can. Your breath and of your awareness. Taking back your attention. Practicing directing your attention to places you want your attention to go, places you want your energy to be spent. It's getting harder and harder to do that with all of our phones and screens and marketing and messaging. So for now, we practice practicing not getting bored, but becoming more interested in the subtleties. Let's take a clearing breath in through the nose and a sigh to release. Opening your eyes if they were closed. Let's get ready to repeat that sequence on the other side. So we'll be balancing on the left foot this time. So let's find a tree pose with the left foot supporting us in some way. Take your time, finding the variation that fits the moment. Balancing and breathing. Optional to add on some hand movement, arm movement here. Inhaling, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, hands coming down to heart. Inhale, hands reaching high. Exhale, lowering hands down by the sides. Now we prepare. Inhale, reaching high. Exhale, step your right foot back, kind of like you're going into a forward fold. So hands coming to the floor and right knee eventually finding the mat as well. Inhale, reaching hands high. Exhale. One more breath in. And exhale, find your way to downward dog, planting your hands on your blocks, curling your right toes under, and stepping your left foot back. Downward dog. Breathing in and out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat, but then exhale and walk your hands to the back of your mat. Forward fold at the back. Inhale, halfway lift, sliding the hands up to the thighs, straightening and neutralizing the spine. pulling your shoulder blades back behind you. And exhale, forward fold, walk your way back to downward facing dog. Bend both knees, look toward the top of your mat, and then step just the left foot forward. Bending into the left knee, inhale, rise up, crescent moon. Exhale. One more breath in. And exhale, warrior two, spinning the right heel down, pressing weight equally through all edges of both feet if possible. Picking up all your toes, spreading them out, and setting them back down. Checking in with the shoulder to hip alignment here. You don't want to be too far in either direction. One more breath in. And out, bringing your hands down to the floor. Let's grab our blocks this time. Walk your hands around to the right side, all the way around to the back side of your mat. Let's rise up for a second here. And warrior two to the back. 2 breaths, inhale. And exhale. Last breath in. And out, bringing hands down to your blocks. Lower your right knee down to the mat. Let's find our twist to the right this time. I'm going to put my left hand on my block, my right hand on my right knee or thigh, kind of coming forward a little bit. Press your right hand into your thigh, twisting the upper body toward the right. Make sure your breath isn't restricted. If it is, you maybe just have gone a little too far. If you want a variation, maybe you're reaching the right hand high. Maybe this time you're hooking the left elbow on the right thigh and pressing palms together for your twist. You could be reaching your right hand back for the left foot. Quad stretch. Or any variation. Eventually bringing both hands down to your blocks, curling your left toes under, and then walking your hands around to the left, wide-legged forward fold, so both toes, or both feet, all of the toes facing the long edge of your mat, and folding down. With an inhale, let's halfway lift. Maybe hands are on blocks here, straightening the spine a little bit. I always like to pick up my toes and spread them out, set them down. Just feels like a healthier footprint to me. And then exhale, forward fold, bending your knees a little bit as you go. So let's go between those two movements or those two poses. Inhale, halfway lift with the legs kind of straight. And forward fold with the knees softened, maybe bent a little bit. 1 or 2 more like that. And with your hands supported by your blocks here, let's toe heel the feet in toward the center and come on down to seat. Let's lower onto the back here. Take your time. Eventually pulling your knees in toward your chest and finding a little bit of slow massaging motion, rocking a little side to side or circling your knees. If you ever want like more pressure in any spot, grabbing something like a sock. I know it seems like a sock wouldn't do a whole lot, but kind of balling a sock up underneath certain points can give a nice amount of gentle pressure, a little deeper if that ever sounds interesting to you. And then letting your feet come down to the floor. Let's straighten the legs, straighten the arms. We'll find banana pose, side bending to the right. So walking your heels over toward the right edge of your mat, grabbing hold of your left arm or wrist and gently pulling the left arm over to the right, creating that nice side bend, banana bendy shape. And we're thinking less about the bend in the side and more about the length and spaciousness through the left side. Seeing if we can imagine that we're breathing more into the left lung. And switching sides, walking the heels toward the left edge. Grabbing hold of the right arm or wrist and pulling over toward the left. Banana pose again. Lengthening through the right side. Breathing into the right lung. And making your way back to center. If there are any other poses or movements that you want before our final rest today, go ahead, move through those now. Eventually getting all set up somewhere comfy. Could be just how you started today. Shavasana or constructive rest pose. You could put your legs up on a chair or up the wall. You grab a little something to cover your eyes with. Scanning through your body, seeing if there are any notes or things to take stock of before our rest. Any little messages or noticings that arise as you settle. Trying to let your brain have a break. No need to think or plan or do. Just keep smoothing and relaxing and inviting ease into your being. More ease, more release through the forehead and the eyes. All of the muscles around your face, your mouth, soft, restful. Letting a wave of relaxation continue to ripple out through the neck, shoulders, rib cage, the arms and the hands. Rippling with peace through the spine. Grounded, safe, comforting rest through the right hip, and the left hip, the pelvis, your right leg and your left foot and your right. Softer yet. Feel free to continue your rest as long as you'd like here. If not now, eventually when you're ready, starting to bring a little more spark into the breath, waking up from the inside, wiggling fingers and toes, letting more movement transpire, maybe letting your head go side to side, a little circling of ankles or wrists, maybe a yawn. Eventually going to either side, finding the fetal position with your knees tucked in a little bit. You might use your bottom arm as a pillow. Try to spend at least a full round of breath here in no hurry to get on with it. And then rising up to a comfortable seat. Let's seal in our class today, joining hands together at the heart, sitting up tall, closing the eyes, or just kind of softening your gaze again. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free. And may our own thoughts, words, and actions somehow contribute to that happiness and freedom for all. Together, let's bring thumbs up to third eye center, sealing our class in with a little bow forward and gratitude now. Thank you.